What's up, people? We are back with another video. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Court.
And with this video, we're actually excited to make this video because we're actually going to go a little bit deeper into our lives and what we go through
as an interracial couple.
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, whether it's through family, friends, whoever, public, whatever.
Stuff.
So, I know we've been making a lot of fun videos and stuff like that, and it's always good to have fun, but I also wanted to give you guys the real side as well, like when it comes to being in an interracial.
Yeah, the real and raw side of our relationship.
Correct. With this video,
we have 5 do's
and 5 don'ts. Step 1.
The first do.
The first do. Rule number 1. Be willing to understand the other person's culture.
Yes. Be open to learning about their culture in general.
Example.
And that can be anything. That doesn't just mean like he's black and I'm like African American and I'm half Japanese, half white. That doesn't just mean my Japanese culture and just his African American. That can be just their family culture and dynamics, their backgrounds, how they grew up, all of that.
Yep.
On top of their culture. So like for both of us, that's trying new foods. Well, when we first got together, you know, learning new things about how we interact as a family, things like that.
Yeah, so the big thing with us being black, well, me being black, she being Asian, and white, is a family dynamic. I mean, you got 2 different sides. I mean,
very different.
Black
similarities, but a lot of differences.
Black mom, black dad. You know how that's gonna be when you bring somebody that's not black to the family function or a family house. Growing up, you know, my mom and dad, they didn't really care who I brought home, long as they were respectful and just respectful, nice, and they treated me nice. So
weren't getting into trouble and stuff.
And yes, they weren't getting me in trouble. But yeah, that's a huge do when it comes to being in an interracial relationship.
It'll make your life and their life a lot easier too.
Number 2. Accept what others may say about you.
Yeah. So we haven't really gotten into our entire relationship from the day we met to now, and maybe we'll do that in another video, like our whole relationship story. But we actually first started dating in high school and then we broke up, got back together, but later on. But yeah, we dealt with that from the jump.
Yep.
Girls did not like the fact that he was dating somebody that wasn't black.
Yep.
We never really got that from anybody on my end of things, like my friends and stuff. Yeah.
People expect me to be with a black woman, and not to say there wasn't any, you know, but you know, how things panned out, you know, the heart wants what it wants, and I chose her, and a lot of people did not like that. And even to this day, you know, we get stares, we get, you know,
pushback,
that thing. So I just learned, you just have to learn how to accept it and deal with it, and just know, like, well, whatever they're going through, the person that doesn't like your guys' situation, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So y'all just gotta keep pushing through it.
It's harder to be the bigger person sometimes, but at the end of the day, they're not in your life most of the time, and even if they are, it's not their relationship, so don't let that stuff affect you to that point.
Definitely.
You know?
Number 3, communication is key, and be open to questions about race. The other side, yeah. So what that means is whatever the other person's feeling. Like me, I'm not constantly always saying how do you feel about certain things, but because we know each other pretty well, where I know, you know, I can just tell like when something's off. But we've had those tough conversations, like
yes, we weren't that way from the start.
Yeah, we weren't like that from the start, but we've had those tough conversations on like, you realize you're gonna have a biracial child, a black baby, and what comes with that. So
very different than my life and what I've dealt with. Our kids will deal with a lot different things, and of course we don't know exactly their skin tone and stuff when we what they're gonna be when we have them.
They'll be black.
But obviously they'll be black, and so we don't want them to not identify with either thing. We want them to know about both sides of their family and accept both of their cultures and know that everything about them is beautiful. And But in our terms of our relationship, it was, you know, communicating if, hey, like, I was really uncomfortable during XYZ, like, how can I not be so uncomfortable, or can you help me not be so uncomfortable? What can I do to feel more a part of everything? Like, for me, at the very beginning, I knew that his family, like, accepted me. They didn't, like, they weren't, like, racist or anything like that, or, like, didn't want me to be with him. But I was the only non-black person in the room, so it was uncomfortable just because of that, and I'm sure anybody can relate to that. So it was kind of like, where do I fit in? Who do I talk to? Do I just sit here and wait for people to talk to me? You know, so of course I would try and talk to people, but you still feel that kind of like awkwardness. So just communicating that with your partner is extremely helpful.
Yes, and the same thing with me. I'll be the only black dude.
Yeah.
And you know,
on both sides.
On both sides. But, you know, talking about that type of stuff where you tell them, like, yo, there's certain things that just won't fly. Or there's certain people that just won't, you know, connect with me because of just me being me. So I understand, you know, from a young kid, I understood that. Like, I've been called names. I've been, you know, I wouldn't say bullied, but you know, you go through the mud. So when it came to a relationship that, you know, the person I was with was not the same color as me, you know, it does become, you know, a lot of friction and a lot of uncertainty when it comes to that, you know, when it comes to meeting family and being in those situations. You guys got to have those hard conversations.
Yeah. And when he talked about being open to questions, by that we mean if your significant other has questions about your race, your ethnicity, your background, don't take it as they're being oblivious to things or they're trying to be hurtful. There were certain questions I was like hesitant to ask him because I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to come off like I'm racist or something? I don't want to make him feel like, you know, some type of way or whatever, but I just, you know, you kind of preface the question with like, hey, like, I really truly just want to know to better our relationship, to learn more about you and your family, because there are certain questions that are kind of hard to not say a certain way and get your point across. And, you know, of course the person should know where you're coming from anyway, because you love them or you're, you know, you really like them, but you know, just being open to those difficult questions, because that's the only way you're going to cross those barriers, and
move forward
and help each other understand and learn and love each other's cultures and embrace them fully. So
number 4,
which this one goes with the last one.
Stand up for your significant other, even if it may be hard.
Yes.
Don't just let that other person get walked over.
Yeah. And that can be hard when it comes to your family, but I think if you're in a serious relationship, they should come first, which may be hard.
This is one of the most important ones, because family could be a huge determinant if you let it.
Yes.
So
it can break your relationship.
We've had issues, you know, with family, but I always stand on 10 toes. I stand on 10 toes and I don't sway. So if they have an issue, I address it. So I've always been like that. So I never let people walk over her, even if, you know, if I'm around my black friends or Mexican, whatever. It don't matter. You will not say certain things and think it's okay if I feel like you're being disrespectful. And so it even comes to my own mom. If it was my dad, my sisters, cousins, aunties, don't matter. I'm always standing up for her no matter what. And I expect the same in return.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean you have to make a huge scene or anything like that. That you can pull the person aside or wait until everybody's gone and like have a serious conversation with them and say, hey, like, I don't know if you meant it this way, but this is how it came off, and I don't appreciate it if you did mean it that way. And again, like I was saying, it can be very difficult to have those conversations or to confront them. And I think especially if you're not in a serious relationship or you aren't sure where you stand in that relationship in terms of seriousness, but if you are serious or you are married, you seriously need to think about those things. And we've had that conversation many times that we are each other's like top priority, if you will. And of course we love our families to death, but at the end of the day, it's our relationship. It will be our marriage and our life, and he will be who I spend the rest of my life with, not my family, if that makes sense. So he comes first, I come first, and you know, not to say that we're like, oh, forget you, like that would never be the case, but you really have to take that into consideration and not be scared, as hard as it may be, to stand up for that person.
Yep, even if you have the utmost respect for family members.
And hopefully your family knows you well enough to know, like, you would never do things and say things to be hurtful.
All that stuff. So, very, very important.
Yes.
Okay? Take it slow. Remember, not one thing fits all. So, being in a relationship period, it's all about taking it slow. I know some people. And
compromise.
I know some people don't. They be going 100 miles per hour, but you know, when it comes to being in an interracial relationship, you guys aren't gonna see eye to eye all the time because everything's new.
Well, because in any relationship, let's just say you are like the same ethnicity, race, whatever, you probably will have those commonalities, so you won't necessarily have to deal with those things. You most likely, a lot of those traditions and stuff will be similar. So on top of that, we have different backgrounds, and so with that then comes added differences and things that we have to learn about each other. We were blessed in the sense that we were raised somewhat similarly in terms of what our parents expected of us and discipline wise, and we both grew up Christian, so that was helpful. We didn't have that kind of issue, but like family events are so different. Just like the way our parents think about certain things are very different. So of course, then that relayed down to us as we grew up.
Yeah.
So
stereotypes. Don't think just because you know the race of the other person that they're gonna fall into the stereotypes that are out there in the world. That's a big no-no. Don't do that. Maybe some people will, but you know, that's one of the things that, you know, just because she's Japanese, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you know, so you must like samurai, huh? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna assume. And just because I'm black, she's not gonna be like, oh, you must like fried chicken or whatever, right? Which I do, but don't assume that I do, okay? But just giving each other time
to learn about things.
To learn each other.
Don't expect them to certain things that, like with his family at events, there's certain things that they just always do. And I'm very introverted and he's not that way, especially around his family. I mean, I'm way different now with his family, but at the beginning I was like, no, like chill out. You know, they'll be up dancing and stuff and I'm like, like I love to dance, but I didn't know them that well, so it took me a while to get comfortable, and it took him a while to let me like take my time to do that, if that makes sense.
So
the don'ts.
Here are the don'ts. Don't number one, when it comes to being an interracial couple or being in an interracial relationship, don't make it one-sided. So by one-sided, I mean don't make it all about, okay, we're gonna come to my family functions, we're gonna do what I want to do because yours is just not. It's not exciting. Yeah. I don't really like doing what your culture's about. Let's just stick to what I like to do or what is fun to me. Don't do that. Don't make it one-sided. Don't make it a one-sided relationship.
Yeah, I mean, so like with our families, for example, my family events, so my Asian side lives a little farther away, so we don't see them as often. So I'm just gonna go off of the white side of my family because we all live in the same city for the most part. So our events are very short. They're like an hour.
45 minutes.
Like sometimes, I don't know. Just always how it's been.
45 minutes.
But I think also on top of that, we get together like every week. So not anymore, but like when we were younger. So I think the time length of it had to do with that too. But on top of that, it's very chill. We just, usually it revolves around a meal and we're just sitting, talking, hanging out.
45 minutes.
Okay, anyway. So his family, on the other hand, it is an all-day
all night long.
Okay.
We gonna party to the sun.
Not all the time. No.
We gonna party to
But, okay, be quiet. So let's just say it's a birthday.
We gonna party to the
It will go from like, okay, also, it never starts on time.
Whoa.
My family's always on the dot punctual. His family, it'll be like, oh, the birthday party's at 12.
In. We trickle.
Nobody's there until 2.
No, we trickle.
And so then it goes until sometimes 1 in the morning, okay?
3.
My family's, we're loud, but you know, there's not a lot of us. Usually at his stuff, there's a ton of them, because then there's their family,
we party
friends.
till we pass out.
And on top of that, they have music blasting, a movie blasting, and everybody, you know, so it's like, it's very different dynamics. And so I could easily be like, you know what, that's not really me. I don't want to go. I don't want to be there all day. And he could easily be like, it's like not as exciting to go to yours, so I'm just gonna stay home, you know? So that's the other part too. You have to be willing to accept those things and go to those things, even though it may not be your absolute favorite thing to do. Yeah.
Number 2, don't put pressure on the other person.
I don't know what you mean by that.
By that I mean, don't give the other person a timeline or a list of how they should fit into what you do, your life. So with our relationship, for instance, I don't be like, you gotta act this way or it ain't gonna work. That's what I mean by don't put pressure on the other person to basically be who you want them to be.
Or just be the same as you, or think the same exact way. And it could be as simple as like liking the same foods or foods from your culture. Don't expect that just because they try them, they're gonna like them. Like, I do not like greens. And you know what? Like at first I was like, I was like kind of nervous to even say that.
Collard greens are essential.
I can eat them, but it's not my first choice, okay? Anyway, I thought I was like, oh my gosh, I was like sinning, you know?
It was almost a deal breaker.
And when I said that to him, he's like, you know?
A deal breaker.
But listen, when I finally said it out loud with more of his family around, I found out that some of his family doesn't like them. So I was like, okay, not a big deal. So it can be as simple as that too, but.
She lied.
No, I'm not. Okay, some of his black family, not his, you know. So.
But yeah.
But don't pressure them to be just like you.
Don't pressure them to like what you like, or don't give them a timeline to
let everybody be their own person.
You know, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. Don't force it. Number 3, and I think this is a big point. When you're just starting to be in a interracial couple, or even if you have been, don't hide the other person.
No, we never did this, so.
Don't hide them from the people that you love or whatever, or the world, you know, because then that's going to be a negative, you know, thing for them, because then they feel like, oh, you know.
They were a secret for however long.
Don't do it. So, how is that she popping up. If they don't like you, I'll take in consideration, but you still popping up.
Because if you're hiding your significant other from the people that are most important to you, and that your family may be your friend group, you know, whatever, you really should probably ask yourself, is that person the right person then? Or should you be with them, kind of thing. And if you feel that your family, whoever that may be, is gonna
judge them or whatever, they're not gonna like them,
have a serious conversation with your family about it first, and just say, hey, like, this is who I'm dating. If you don't like it, then
because that person that you're hiding is gonna feel like you're ashamed of them.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. You don't want the person that you love to feel like you're ashamed of them. So all the cutthroat parents, black parents, white, Mexican,
whatever,
Indian, don't matter. It's like, if you got parents that are very traditional and whatever, and you just happen to fall in love with somebody else that's not the same race as that they wanted you to have or be with, so be it. You know, it's
2021.
You have to make that choice and be, respectful enough to be like, you know what? This is who I like. This is what I'm bringing over. If you don't like it, at least tell me to my face so I know. Don't hide the person. Don't hide the person. Number 4, Now, this is just a personal preference for me. I mean, a lot of people might not agree with me. I don't care. But don't be the person that is the I don't see color person. I mean, I see where you're coming from when you say that, but at the end of the day, you know, when I look in a crown box, I see colors.
Well, some of them. He's colorblind.
I'm colorblind, so I don't see the browns.
Some colors look the same.
The purples and blues. But when I look into a crown box, I see a box of colors.
Yeah.
Stuff don't change when it comes to people.
Yeah. And what he means is, to like add to it, is there's nothing wrong with seeing color. It's when you see...
I love seeing color.
Yeah, when you see different colors and you treat them differently, that's the problem.
Yep.
But there's nothing wrong with seeing color. Like, I'm obviously not the same color as him and he's not the same color as me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's even more beautiful. I, you know, obviously come from an interracial marriage, so that was normal to me, to be in a mixed relationship. But other people may not see that. But it's just embracing that is what's important, and not saying, oh, like, we're black and white, but we don't see the different colors. Like, no, because then you're gonna, in my opinion, I feel like if we did that, we'd confuse our kids.
Yeah.
So,
you address it and be like, yes,
because
you're black.
Very different.
I mean, I'm black.
Yeah.
You ain't black.
No, and
it's like,
because you're gonna,
it is what it is.
You're gonna blur lines, and then
be straight up.
Your kids may not understand why they're getting treated a certain way by certain people, or, you know, if we told our kids, oh, no, you're just a person. Well, they are just a person, but if we didn't tell them, like, the difference and, like, don't see color, and give them the raw, real truth about things that they're gonna have to deal with as a black kid, rather than just, like, you know, Asian and white kid, then they're gonna be faced with a hard reality.
Which I can go into, that could be another video with, you know, being the certain skin tone I am and how people look at me. So I've like I said, I've had a lot of run-ins on a lot of different things, whether it's police, regular people on the street, it don't matter. And I'm not gonna, I don't like shielding important things like, you know, yes, there's yellow people, there's white people, there's black people, and, you know, brown people, all that stuff. You know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't see color, I love everybody. It's like, no, color is beautiful, you know. And I love seeing color because you know what you're getting yourself into. So,
somewhat.
But yeah, definitely, don't be the person that says, oh, I don't see color, because there's definitely a color difference. For real.
Just a little.
Number 5. Don't make the other person inferior. Don't make the other person feel inferior, where it's like, you gotta do what I say because you did this and that.
Because your
ancestors did this and that. Don't do that. So, I feel like that's something that needs to be said, because I feel like there's a lot of people that do stuff like that. Like, they're like, ooh, I'm gonna get back to him. You know, and, you know, that's just, it's not healthy. I feel like it's not healthy.
Yeah, because he could easily, you know, and it can go as far as, like, certain hard things that people of different races have had to talk about this past year. And he could easily say, like, no, you don't understand difficult things or hard times because of, you don't understand because I've gone through way worse things. You know, it can be like that too.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Yeah. I mean, obviously, yes, he has gone through things or will continue to have to deal with certain things that I probably will never have to deal with, but, you know, people will often say, like, well, he deals with racism and you don't, and that's completely 1000% false. I've, on my own, not with him, dealt with racism as well. Even though I am half white, most people just think I'm Asian, and nothing wrong with that, just, you know, it comes with different difficulties and things too.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope it actually brought value to a new interracial couple, or somebody that's been married.
Just to you in general.
Somebody that's married that's already been through something. They could be like, they speaking facts. But yeah, like and subscribe to the channel. We are bringing more and more content to the channel. If you guys like stuff like this, like us talking about
let us know.
Past experiences, stuff like this, let us know. Put it in the comments below, because you know we always looking. You know it. You got anything you want to say?
Nope.
She ain't got nothing to say. She's like, I spoke my piece. But thanks for watching the video. We are out. See you next time.